Hello, Mishpacha. It's Courtney, America's Jewish mother. Welcome back to my channel, and I am coming to you today with a late Friday Reads video. I've been pretty busy grading all of the things. I'm very close to being done. I've graded all the finals and submitted final grades for 3 out of my 4 classes. Yes! So exciting. And I only have 5 final exams left to grade in my last class, and then I will be done. Huzzah! Okay, so let's get into it. I finished 1 book this week. I really wanted to finish the second one before I filmed this, but whatever. I'm close to being done with the second one. You'll hear about that in a minute. Anyway, the book that I finished this week was Strangers and Cousins by Leah, Hager, Cohen. So this book takes place around the backdrop of a wedding. This family, these parents, Walter and Benny Blumenthal, live in a town called Rundle Junction, which is in upstate New York. The house that they live in has been in Benny's family for many generations, and this couple's eldest daughter, Clementine, who's a recent college graduate, is getting married. So the book is structured where it gives you the 4 days leading up to the wedding and then the day of the wedding. And basically in this time frame, a bunch of people descend on the house. So you've got relatives from both sides of the family come in. You have Clementine's hippie friends from school come in and set up tents in the backyard, and they've brought musical instruments and a baby and a dog and a bunch of pot with them. So yeah, basically it's just a sort of bunch of family chaos that goes on in the days leading up to the wedding. In addition, there's a sort of side story about things that are going on in Rundle Junction. You get some history of the town throughout the book, especially in the reminiscences of Aunt Glad, who's this 90-some-year-old aunt who also is there for the wedding. And yeah, there's a side story with ultra-Orthodox Jews moving into the town of Rundle Junction, and basically people's varied reactions to that. So some people are indifferent to it, some people think in terms of practical considerations it's not a good idea, and some people think it's not a good idea because of outright anti-Semitism. So I liked this book okay. I enjoyed it well enough while I was reading it. I didn't find it particularly difficult reading, although I also would put it down for, a couple of days at a time, and I wasn't particularly compelled to come back and pick it up again. And I was kind of glad when I got to the end of it. But here's the thing. I ended up giving it 3 stars, and it's fine. It's perfectly fine. But I think the author is trying to do too much, and some of the threads of the story I think are unnecessary and don't really go anywhere. For instance, the thing with the ultra-Orthodox Jews. That storyline doesn't really go anywhere. It really only serves to show us that different members of the family have kind of different takes on the situation, and it somewhat connects back to a tragic incident that happened in Aunt Glad's youth. But otherwise, that thread of the book doesn't really go anywhere, and I don't really know if it adds anything all that useful to the story. And yeah, ultimately I think I was just a little unsure of what I was supposed to be taking away from this novel at the end of it. So I ended up giving that 3 stars. I'm currently reading 3 books. So I am buddy reading Native Son by Richard Wright with Lindsay from Lindsay's Book Life. So far, we're not quite, or at least I'm not quite 100 pages into this. I can't speak for Lindsay. She might have already read ahead. But we're through book 1, and wow, a lot of stuff has happened, y'all. So I'm really not not giving anything away here because on the back of the book it says that Bigger Thomas kills a young white woman in a brief moment of panic. So I actually read this book a number of years ago as part of my graduate studies for my comprehensive exam. So I remembered basically kind of what happened with that, but I forgot that it happened so early on. So yeah, that happened a lot sooner than I thought, and that escalated quickly. So very, very dramatic already, very gruesome already. So we'll see how this continues to progress. The other book that I'm still currently reading and I'm almost finished with is The English Assassin by Daniel Silva. And this is the second book in Silva's Gabriel Allon series. I'm listening to this on audiobook and I only have about an hour and 15 minutes of it left. And I'll just, instead of saving my thoughts for next week, I'll just tell you my thoughts about it basically now. I think unless something dramatic changes in the last hour and 15 minutes that I have to listen to this on audiobook, I think this book is headed for like a 3.5 star rating for me. I have enjoyed it. I've liked it more than the first book in the series, although I think the first book in the series actually is a bit pacier than this one, but whatever. But what I really like about the second book in the series is that it explores who is sort of culpable in the Holocaust, forces you maybe wouldn't normally think about. So particularly there's a focus on Switzerland, which famously was neutral during the Second World War, but Silva really shows how that stance of neutrality tended to mask a lot of Swiss opportunism and complicity with the Nazis, even though they were allegedly neutral. And he also this book heavily features the theft of artworks that were stolen from Jewish families as part of Nazi looting during the Second World War, and how a lot of that stuff ended up stashed in secret Swiss bank vaults, along with money, but really the focus here is on the theft of artworks. And I thought that was really interesting. I think that's not something I've heard a ton about in literature that deals with the Holocaust or World War II, so I like that focus exists, and I like that Silva is sort of shining a light on, like I said again, the sort of complicity of alleged neutrality from the Swiss. So that's The English Assassin. I'll probably finish that up tonight. And the other book I'm currently reading is the Tallulah Bankhead autobiography. So I'm only one chapter into this so far, but you know, already it has sort of Tallulah Bankhead's characteristic wit, and she's told, you know, several humorous anecdotes, and she's sort of complained about how she finds the theater full of incredible drudgery, but she only does it because she doesn't know how to do anything else. So very sort of trademark Tallulah Bankhead. I will let you know how this progresses. So that is the one book I finished and the 3 books I am currently reading. Also, side note here, because I have filmed 8 days worth of content in a row, I'm now going to scale back on this channel to a more reasonable 2 videos a week, I think. So I'm gonna keep the Friday reads, and I'll probably do like a vlog or a tag Tuesday or something like that in the weeks to come. But yeah, 8 days worth of content. I wanted to start this channel off strong, and I've already put in a Jewish holidays worth of content. So you'll probably not be hearing from me again until I put up a vlog, you know, sometime in the next few days. Let me know what you're reading this week or in the future week down in the comments below. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned. I hope everyone is staying healthy and well. I hope you're getting good reading done, whatever you're reading. And until next time, would it kill you to call your mother?